Happy Easter if you celebrate Easter. If you do not, happy Sunday. So, for those of you who celebrate Easter, I thought we'd have the topic of chocolate today. And that's a tricky one, right? So, let me show you. Golden K-Tum. If you're not in Australia, this is a ice cream that was probably my favorite ice cream growing up. I'm not a huge ice cream fan. It's one of those things that I can have in the freezer and not worry about it so much. But here's the thing with chocolate, right? I was watching a video yesterday by Kelly Hogan. It's a really old one. I'm gonna link it actually in the chat. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. There we go. So if you get a chance, watch this, because even though it's an old one, she's interviewing a lipedema lady, and they were talking about whether or not you're a abstainer or a moderator. Okay. So an abstainer is somebody that just can't have something like this in the house, right? Because one bite and they're off and running. Okay. That's probably my husband and ice cream. Okay. He has to abstain and we can't have it in the house because he loves ice cream. On the other hand, I'm a moderator with ice cream. I can have a couple of bites, and this was even before weight loss surgery. I could have a couple of bites and it's nice, but it was not, I'd be more interested in just having like one of these ice creams or something like that. But good morning. Tell me where you're tuning in from and if it's Easter for you yet. So this whole concept of an abstainer versus a moderator really got me thinking, and of what things. Happy Easter. I can guarantee you're not having chocolate this morning because you just probably wouldn't. I don't know. So abstainer versus moderator. So there are some things that, for the most part, I'm a moderator. I can have a bit of chocolate. I can have a bit of ice cream. I can have some gluten or dairy or whatever, and pretty quickly, within a day or so, I'm like, it doesn't send me on a downhill spiral. Whereas abstainers are the types of people that just cannot have it, cannot even. Hello from Southern California. What time is it there for you, Marcia? Is that how you say it, Marcia or Marsha? Thank you for tuning in. So it's really interesting to know this about yourself, whether or not you can keep things in the house or whether or not you cannot keep things in the house that might tempt you. Okay, so do you know that about yourself? Are you an abstainer or a moderator? I found this really, really a fascinating conversation to watch. Kelly Hogan's great to watch if you're testing carnivore, if you're trying carnivore out. Here's the other thing that I've been looking into this week, which I wanted to chat about, because I love veggies. I was the plant-based queen for most of my life until, a year or so ago, where I started to understand lipedema, all the things, and carnivore, and it was more bang for my buck after weight loss surgery. It just all kind of combined, and I felt better. I miss veggies sometimes, not all the time, but I do. And what I did come across, I decided I was going to do a video on why with lipedema should I eat carnivore. Like, I really needed to talk myself into. Marcia, thank you. It's 4 p.m. there. So if you celebrate Easter, it's for tomorrow for you. If you do not, it's just a Sunday for you. And Marcia, I'd love to know, for what particular issue are you here? Are you weight loss surgery, thyroid, lipedema? most of my followers are lipedema, but I'd love to know. Yeah. So I am doing this video on whether or not carnivore, like I'm trying to talk myself into it. And I do this thing, it's called confirmation bias. Whenever you decide you're going to try something for whatever issue you've got going on, you need to, oh, it's raining. Oh my gosh. Now that's really unusual here, just so you know. I live in a very hot environment and rain is really rare. Oh, that's amazing. Sorry. It's the kind of place here where everybody runs out into the street when it rains. How weird. Okay, so sorry, back to confirmation bias. When you want to change something about what you're doing, you have awful lymphedema. Ah, that's awful, Marcia. I only have the lipedema. Lymphedema is that much harder to address. Yeah, I feel you. That's a tricky one. But have you tried carnivore for it? That would be a good question, because in my research of this confirmation bias of trying to figure out why carnivore is suggested for both lipedema and lymphedema, I came across this time and they basically, with the carnivore diet, they talked about it for both situations. It was tied up in the ketones. And when you go on a carnivore diet, you develop ketones. And so I tested myself for this next video coming out, and I've got my blood glucose little monitor here, and I took my blood glucose and I took my ketones for several days, eating very strict, high. I was trying to get in 140 grams of protein a day, which is hard after weight loss surgery. I had to split it into 4 to 5 meals every day. And but on the third day, when my ketones start getting higher, so I'd already dropped any water weight that I was carrying, as you do when you do this sort of thing. But on the third day, I lost a little bit over 1 kilo, which is nearly 3 pounds. So I was like, oh, wow. But by day 4, I just couldn't eat that much meat anymore. I just couldn't do it. It was a job to eat that much meat. But everything that I have researched this last week or so around lipedema and lymphedema and the carnivore diet is, and you're diabetic. This would be awesome for you to try out and test if I don't know, not many doctors are on board with it these days, but it's definitely something that I would research, watch more YouTube videos on it, and watch the Lipedema Simplified and the Fat Disorders Society. There's a few YouTube channels that promote, and all the doctors now and the research are saying that for both lipedema and lymphedema, the carnivore diet, because it produces ketones, it is anti-inflammatory. Ketones are in themselves anti-inflammatory. So one of the biggest things they found with people that went on it with lipedema and lymphedema is the reduction in pain. So even if they didn't lose weight, they had a huge reduction in pain. So that was really fascinating. The carnivore diet, Marcia, is simply eating animal products, nothing but animal products. And that's really hard for me to say because I ran challenges. I have another business called Thyroid School. Some people know me from there. And for years, I ran plant-based challenges. How many plants can you eat a month? And all these sorts of things, because I studied 4 years, naturopath, clinical nutritionist, and a herbalist in my qualifications to try and help my thyroid disease. I did not know at this time I had lipedema. But everything was about the plants. And people that I studied with, friends of mine, they're still like, really, Kylie, carnivore? But carnivore has changed a lot for me, even though I still struggle with it in my head. But it is eating nothing but animal products. There's a lot of, the strictest version is called the Lion diet, really good for autoimmune disease. And diabetes can be an autoimmune disease, whether it's type 1 or type 2. Type 1 is the autoimmune disease, type 2 not so much. Do you have any other autoimmune diseases would be my question there, because the lion diet is simply nothing but beef, water, and salt. However, salt for lipedema and lymphedema, in my understanding so far, is not great for us. So I struggle with that one because I love salt. But the thing is, you've got to keep testing these things for yourself. And once I tested myself having a carnivore diet, I don't have the strict lion diet. I have pretty much any animal meats, but I have tested myself with dairy, and I'm not great with dairy. So, and that's a thyroid thing. And look, lipedema is caused by hormones. It's driven by hormones. Lymphedema is also driven by hormones, but it is usually caused by a lymph node being removed. Is that you, Marcia? Was a lymph node removed, or is it driven by something else? So estrogen is a massive problem with both situations. But in all the research I've done as to try and talk myself into sticking to carnivore really strictly and not having chocolate at Easter, and look, I may or may not have some of this. It's kind of chocolate for me. Yes, I went through a stage of I had to have some chocolate every night, just had to. Once I did that full-on strict fitting in that protein, I just was not interested. So if you're struggling, no, not dairy, yeah. If you're struggling with following this kind of a lifestyle and you want to try it, make sure you get in more protein than you can possibly think. So, and don't forget, they say for weight loss or for your ideal weight, you should be eating a gram of protein for every pound of your ideal weight. So say you want to weigh 140 pounds, then you need to multiple sclerosis is a autoimmune disease. So it would be worth trying. You know, it's just eating any animal product. For example, I have 3 eggs for breakfast. I can manage 3 eggs. That's the most I can manage because I've had weight loss surgery. So if you can manage 6 eggs, go for 6 eggs, or have meat for breakfast, or have steak for breakfast. That's another thing I have often for breakfast is steak. If you're going to have, now this is what I wanted to talk about also, if you're going to have something, if you're going to cave and you're going to go, oh, I'm having good for you, Marcia. You've got to try. Nobody else is going to fix us, right? Nobody else is going to go, right, you need to do this, and I'm on your side, and let's try it. So you have to be the one to try these things, and you've got to do the confirmation bias. So by that I mean, if you decide you're going to try carnivore, then you watch all the carnivore videos that promote why it's good to have it so that you learn why you're doing it. Otherwise, you're going to have people around you going, that's dangerous. They won't care if you're eating chips or chocolate on Easter. They won't say a thing. But the minute you start to remove all those things and just have meat that might be good for you, then all these people come out of the woodwork going, oh, that's not, oh, no, that's bad for you. It's so weird. It's so weird. But I have seen so many results on people reversing so many things. Diabetes, not necessarily type 1, type 2, reversing all kinds of things. Beef, with the lymphedema, no salt if you can help it, is my understanding of everything that I've read and researched about this. Okay, so, but if the salt on your eggs or your meat is the difference between you sticking with it and not sticking with it, a little bit of salt. There's days, because it's very, very hot where I live, and potentially it's hot where you live too, Marcia. I do have electrolytes, not every day, and that's sodium. So I kind of limit that, but at the same time, when you live in a hot environment, if you sweat a lot, you go for walks, things like that, then you're going to have to sort of play with that one. You've got to test. You've got to do the testing for yourself. This is like my biggest, I did, my throat's going weird. I did 4 years at college, right? But I learned nothing about lipedema, nothing. And in fact, we didn't even really cover lymphedema during that time. So, and this is most doctors as well. So it's, you've got to, there's not enough known about it. So you've got to follow the doctors that teach about it. You've got to follow the lipedema and lymphedema sites. Most of the doctors cover both. I love eggs. Perfect. Yep, I can have scrambled eggs with no salt as well. Steak, if I'm having steak on its own, I like a bit of salt. So it kind of depends on the food for me. Pork ribs, no problems. Pork ribs, I don't need salt, tastes delicious. And pork ribs are really high in vitamin B1. So it's really good to have a variation of meats because they all offer different vitamins and mineral profiles. So by having, and certainly to start with, if you've not done this before, you are going to have detox symptoms just the same as you will have detox if you gave up coffee or sugar or any of those sorts of things. You will have a detox for the most part. Most people do. So it's really important to start with, to just whatever you like in that whole animal area, okay? There are people out there that can only eat beef, salt and water, and that's what keeps their autoimmune diseases at bay. So you're the test. Only you know what it feels like to walk in your own shoes, right? Only you know what it feels like if you have a bite of chocolate on Easter. Can you get away with it? Or is it going to send you down a spiral? Fish, yes, animal products. Fish, seafood, a good round. In fact, there are people on Carnivore, and I've read about these people in some studies that can't tolerate, like mammals, can't tolerate red meat, but just live off the fish. Just make sure that however you're cooking this food is not in seed oils, because that is so inflammatory to the body, and you've got a lot of inflammatory issues going on, as do most of us that are probably here watching this. Inflammation is a big deal. So you're going to cook in butter, which fish cooked in butter is very, very nice. And butter is not considered a dairy so much. So butter has had most of the whey and the lactose removed. It's considered more of a fat. But again, you need to test that for yourself. How do you feel when you cook in butter? Just don't cook in any of the oils. Okay, I know it's easy and I know it's simple, but it's no good for us. I don't care what food group you fall under, whether you're plant-based, vegan, whatever. Most of these protocols now agree seed oils, industrial oils originally, and some smart entrepreneur decided they were going to be really good for our heart. They're so not. They're terrible for us, okay? So cook in things like bacon fat. When I cook bacon, which is not very often, but like maybe twice a month I'll cook bacon, I pour the grease into a jar, and I use that for cooking. Unsalted butter or not plant-based spread. Plant-based spread is oils. Okay, no. Think real stuff. Think our body knows what to do with butter. Our body knows what to do with the fat on meat, with lard and tallow, and duck fat is a good one to cook with. It tastes really good. I mean, chefs use duck fat to cook potatoes in restaurants. That's how good it tastes. Okay, so use any of those sorts of things to cook with. That is, look, olive oil and avocado oil, yes, in the keto world, it's promoted. However, it's really hard to know what oils in the supermarket are not cut with canola oils and seed oils and sunflower oils. So for that reason, I do not even really use, only occasionally will I use sort of an avocado oil, or I've also got a macadamia oil. So that's really rare. generally I'll use lard, tallow, bacon grease. In fact, bacon grease goes a long way. Like, you'll get this much in the bottom of a little jar after cooking, 500 grams of bacon, or half a pound of bacon for my American friends. That actually goes a really long way when cooking eggs and things like that. And I've got a ceramic pan, so eggs I don't tend to even really need oils for it. So, but yeah, anything that you can do. Look, it's about taking the next best step, right? What's your best step to tomorrow? You wake up tomorrow, what's your next best step that is better than today? Okay, is it changing out the oils? Is it not having any carbs? Because carbs are toxic to the lymphatics, okay? And veggies are carbs, right? Dr. Leslyn Keith is another lady I'm not sure where she's from actually, but Dr. Leslyn Keith, Dr. Catherine Sayo, these are all people that I've been watching and researching, and the Fat Disorders Association, they're all on YouTube. Just hammer their videos and you will start to see the same information over and over again, that, carnivore, no carbs. And I have to admit, the times that I do eat carbs, that sends me on a hunger spiral. It makes me hungry. So and I watch it with much interest. Was when I eat meat and the appropriate amount of meat that I should be eating, or seafood or whatever. We had prawns the other day, right? So, or shrimp for you guys. I feel better. I love bacon, no salt. I like scrambled eggs and toast. Remove the toast. Okay, the toast is carbs. So that's your key. If you can remove the grains, okay, so grains are toxic to the lymphatics. You cook a lamb roast twice a week, that makes plenty of fat to save in the fridge, or a pork roast, okay, so the lamb fat, what does that taste like? Interesting. So definitely one of the biggest things you can do for yourself is remove the grains. And I notice that when I have the grains, the cuffing around my ankles, and even though I've lost 60 kilos from the weight loss surgery, I still have the lipedema fat. I don't have it on my arms because I had the surgery to remove it on my arms. But on the rest of me, on my legs, if I eat carbs or sugars or this kind of thing, then the cuffing around my ankles, if any of you have that, it gets more pronounced. Without fail, it gets more pronounced, right? So watching your body and taking note of your symptoms, no matter what they are, because they're different for absolutely everybody. Test things. Eat nothing but fish for 3 days. Both great. Oh, there you go. That's interesting. Lamb fat and pork. Well, pork fat will be similar to. I'm terrible at making pork roasts, but the pork ribs I'm really good at, so they're tasty. But yeah, you've got to know your symptoms. If you don't know what your symptoms are, if you don't have an inventory, I call it doing inventory of your body, right? It's about being in charge of your body business. If you don't know what your starting point is with your body, then you're not going to be able to literally compare when you try different foods. And you need to try different foods and things over a lengthy period of time. A day's not going to do it. A week's not even going to do it, because you will get detox from other foods that you're not eating anymore. Because your body has this chemical response where it craves the things that cause problems. I don't know why. It's part of the cytokine and the inflammatory response. So you will crave things. You will struggle with the first even 2 weeks, 3 weeks I've seen on carnivore before. But the more that you can, it's the cannibal diet. It's the carnivore. Let me write it in. It's the carnivore diet. Although cannibal. There we go. Although cannibal sounds pretty, the vegans out there would call it that, yeah, which I think is hilarious. So you've got to know, you've got to know your starting point. So I would recommend tonight, if you've not done this before, if you've not been on Carnivore before, then you sit down and you write down what are all the things that you know are not working correctly in your body. They're not what's wrong with your body. It's your body simply telling you something's not right. Okay, I want us to all stop thinking that there's something wrong with our body. Our body's simply talking to us. Carnivore, well done. Right? Our body is simply talking to us and telling us it's not getting what it needs. Pork cooked in the air fryer makes the best crackling that won't crack your teeth. I'd like to say that that's true, but I've tried pork in the air fryer. I just can't seem to get the crackling happening, but that's just me. I've never been good at that. And I thought that putting it in the air fryer was going to go well for me. Did not. Still ended up with nothing. And I've done the salt, I've done the oil, I've done that, and we shouldn't be doing the oil. Maybe it needs to be rubbed with bacon fat. I don't know, but I haven't done it for a really long time because of the fact that I just never seem to be able to do it. I buy pork knuckle from the good grocer every now and again, which is really crunchy and all the things. So, okay, so back to Carnivore. And if you're going to try it, start with taking inventory, because some of the things that may change early on, you won't even remember that you had them. And as a naturopath, I'm telling you this, the reason naturopaths, clinical nutritionists take notes, because when you come back 2 weeks later and I say, how are things going? And you say, oh no, nothing much has changed. And I look at my notes and I go, how are the headaches? And then the person across from me goes, oh no, I haven't had a headache for a while. Oh, how is the cramping? Oh, you forget. We're designed to forget that we were in pain, right? That's why women go back for second babies, because we're designed to forget. So it's really important for your mental health. And that's another thing that you write down in your inventory. How is your mental health? Carnivore, for people with anxiety and depression, I've just seen countless stories of people that have reversed that. Homestead How, that's another American YouTube channel. He's doing a documentary on it, I think, at the moment. But he had critically bad depression and anxiety, and he cured it on Carnivore. He was taking all kinds of medication for it, nothing worked, and Carnivore resolved it. And I've seen countless stories around mental health and Carnivore. And I have to say, even though there are times that headaches. So you need to write all that down. Anybody that's starting this, you need to take your inventory. What are all the things that you wish you could change about your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health? That's your inventory. That's your starting list. Then as you go through with each thing that you remove from your world, and you might go strict Carnivore for a couple of weeks, and then you go, oh, I'm just going to test a little bit of cheese, or I'm just going to test, having a piece of toast with my egg again. And then straight away you'll go, oh, headache. Oh, it's the bread. The hardest thing to give up is the bread. And it's the thing that's probably the worst thing for lipedema and lymphedema and lymphatics. Sadly, there's a YouTuber I watch in Bali, and for other reasons, because my husband and I want to move to Asia. And she is very clearly lipedema. And I was watching her eating on the YouTube channel, and it was toast for breakfast, and it was a white sandwich for lunch with a can of Coke. And I'm just like, oh. And I've seen her struggle before on her videos, talking about she can just never lose weight. But lipedema, it's not something you can just sort of tap somebody on the shoulder and say, hey, do you know you've got this? I wish I could, but I don't feel like it's my place to tap people on the shoulder and say, do you know you've got this? But I see people, it's 11% of women, okay? And lipedema, if it's unchecked, will turn into lymphedema. So there's two reasons for having lymphedema. It's from having a lymph node removed, generally after a cancer surgery. Often women after breast cancer get lymphedema. And also lipedema left unchecked can grow into lymphedema. So there's two reasons for having that. So, but removing diet Pepsi, no. I still have coffee, Cuppa with Kylie. I have one decaf a day. Sometimes I'll have caffeine. But yeah, the diet drinks, Marcia. Okay, so the diet, the artificial sweeteners, they keep the sweet flavor. If nothing else, they've done studies that on people over time that use artificial sweeteners of any kind, and long term, those people put on weight. It's because it keeps the sweet flavor in your mouth. So it may be good for you. So it may have stevia or one of the ones that is supposedly good for you, or monk fruit, those sorts of things. But if it's the abstainer versus the moderator, if having something sweet on your tongue makes you then want to have carbs, pastries, chocolate Easter eggs, that kind of thing, then no, you shouldn't be having any artificial sweeteners, and no drinks in a can are good for us. Sorry. It's, too many different chemicals. And that's why the carnivore diet works for so many people, because you're literally removing all your processed foods, all your chemicals, all your numbers, right? We're not designed, our bodies don't know how to process all the numbers. If it's not whole, and, if our ancestors didn't eat it, we should not, right? We should not. But it's tough to do. It's easy to say, really tough to do. So you've got to be, I'm very much how I help people now is emotionally, more than I know all the naturopathic stuff and the clinical nutrition stuff, and yep, that's all ABC. But the problem, the reason people struggle, the reason I struggle, the reason we all struggle is the emotions. It's the traumas, it's the stress, it's the comfort eating, it's the eating foods that remind us of good times, it's eating foods that make us feel like, we've done something good for ourselves when nobody else is doing something good for ourselves. That's the tricky part. The emotions is the tricky part. So I'm actually working on an idea for the emotional side of things, for a membership. So if that interests anybody that's watching this now or in the future, an emotional support membership, not so much. Obviously, I always talk about the physical stuff. That's ABC to me, is understanding the physicalities and the foods and that sort of thing, and the exercise. But it's the emotional stuff that we all get tripped up on. It's the emotional side that we all need somebody to go, it's okay. It's you're doing this because of this, and that's fair enough. Okay, so I don't know, that just started coming up on my mind last night and this morning. I couldn't sleep last night, so I got up. And there is so much to this, Marcia. There is so much to it. And it's a never-ending journey. So lipedema, and I think once you've got lymphedema, pretty much it's for life. Okay, with thyroid disease, and I always thought I could reverse the thyroid disease because I had it for so long without addressing it. Maybe not, but I know for sure with lipedema and lymphedema, this is something you've got to know how to work on for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you're going to have a miserable life. That I've seen. I see women who can barely walk from lipedema that's turned into lymphedema, and it's not fun. It is not fun. We don't want a life like that. We all deserve a better life than that. So that's me today, and I still can't believe it's still raining here. That's insane. So exciting for me. So whether or not you're an abstainer or a moderator, you got to find that out. Right? You've got to find out for yourself. Can you have something? Can you have a bite of Easter egg on Easter or whatever your family's tradition is on your birthdays or Christmas, that kind of thing. It doesn't matter what the day is. Or do you have to abstain completely, or it will send you down that road of wanting more, wanting more, wanting more? That was my key message today, is wanting to know that. So watch that video of Kelly Hogan's, because she was interviewing, it was a couple of years ago, but it's still really relevant information. And she was interviewing a lipedema lady. And yeah, let me know what you think, because I think I'm a moderator. I think I am. But when it comes to bread, maybe not so much. Send you some rain. Yes, I do know that of you over there. I wishing you all the rain under the sun, because I can't believe it's still raining. And I've been on here for half an hour. So that's just crazy for us. So that's it from me. I want to wish you a happy, happy holiday, Easter Sunday, if you don't do the holidays. And yeah, continue to let me know what you need, what you want me to talk about, because Sundays for me is all about, what do you need? How can I help you? What can I talk about to help you guys out? All right. So let me know. Otherwise, I don't know what to talk about. All right. Have a great day or night, wherever you are. And thanks for stopping by. Michaela Peterson's TED Talk is a good one. Absolutely. Happy Easter, Marcia. Happy Easter, Mum. And yes, definitely Michaela Peterson's TEDx Talk is one to watch. She's the one that's on the lion diet because of all of her autoimmune diseases. So I will talk to you all soon. Bye.